Satoru freaking Gojo just landed Black Flash, and it is the strongest punch in history. However, Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 242 is bad news for both Gojo and Sukuna. While Sukuna literally got sent to bedtime and is forced to take a nap, Gojo on the other hand has to fight the final boss, Mahoraga. But how did it even come to this? How did Sukuna lose to Gojo again? Well, at this point, it's getting harder and harder for the community to defend Sukuna's fraudulent claims. This dude is... He's not honored among heaven and earth. That title's for Gojo. In this fight, Gojo has proven that his curse technique is significantly better. His taijutsu is superior. His natural talent is off the charts. His energy efficiency is at its peak. He's slightly faster, and now even his strategies are proving to be one step ahead of Sukuna. So you're probably wondering, yo, ABB is meat riding Gojo right now, fam? Well, it's a fact. There are only a few things we can factually say that Sukuna has an advantage in. One of them being his curse energy reserves being double Yutas, whom stated he has more than Gojo already. And secondly, his years of experience and knowledge over curse techniques. We have yet to see the vast range of Sukuna's arsenal, which will be further showcased with his black boxes. However, Gojo's infinity completely shut down any point of using these overpowered techniques, as at the end of the day, they would not land at all. That's why Mahoraga is playing such an integral role in deciding the outcome of this fight, as the Shikigami adapting to Limitless would mean everything will be on the table for Sukuna to obliterate Gojo easily. However, this proves Satoru freaking Gojo would have even bodied Heian era Sukuna in no time at all. This is because in the 3 to 4 moments where Gojo would have killed Sukuna, Megumi and the 10 Shadows have saved him each and every time. Sukuna stated himself that his original corpse is sufficient enough to replace one finger, which means he is back at his peak at 20. But this time round, he's even stronger and is beyond human compared to his past self. On top of that, he possesses another soul to abuse, a new domain, and the best curse technique to rival Gojo, as Satoru mentioned himself in the past that a 10 shadow user and Limitless killed each other in battle. This technique has the potential to reach him. In fact, 80% of you guys agreed on our live stream. Sukuna is currently much stronger than he was 1000 years ago, yet Gojo is still showcasing that he's better.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
In chapter 232, time is ticking. Mahoraga only needs 3 more spins to adapt to Limitless, and Gojo promised to annihilate Sukuna before that happens, which brings us to a countdown. As the two go head to head with their taijutsu, we see the second spin, as Sukuna is taking damage on purpose, as he doesn't mind tanking more of Gojo's punches since he is able to use amplification and take on the burden of adaptation. But Sukuna still has to be careful if it's red or blue, as it would be much more significant damage. Remember that Sukuna also needs to keep switching between letting Gojo's attacks impact him so Mahoraga can adapt, and pausing the adaptation for using domain amplification to keep the damage to a minimum. Therefore, Gojo makes a plan to rely only on weaker techniques in order to trick Sukuna into thinking that he won't risk using anything more, which is why Gojo's constantly using blue and wants to restrict the amount of time Mahoraga has. Now, his fists are rated E for everyone, and they're laced with blue. Their battle continues to destroy the entire city, by the way. So even if Gojo ends up winning this fight, he did say he's gonna pin it on Sukuna.
Please, disperse!
Nothing to see here.
Gojo is then seen shooting 8 blue lapses in a wheel, being a mockery of Sukuna's use of Mahoraga and his reliance on it. These 8 orbs distract Sukuna enough for Gojo to outspeed and maneuver quite easily. He zones in and catches his kick to counter that injures him. However, again, Sukuna is happy to take on damage as the impact causes Mahoraga's wheel to turn once again. The tally is 3 times now, as Gojo hits Sukuna with the neutral infinity that surrounds his body at all times. But Yuji asks a genuine question. What is the basis for Mahoraga's adaptation? Kusakabe clarifies that there are 2 possibilities. One, where Mahoraga takes a hit and then analyzes it to break it down, meaning that time is also a factor, which is why it takes a moment between each turn of the wheel. Or 2, it adapts by brute force, taking the same attack multiple times to adapt, in which case the factor would be experience, just like humans learn through their mistakes, making it their experience. Kashimo chimes in stating that the answer to this question is hard to decipher because right now Gojo is only using blue, so it would be either of these cases in this scenario. Now as Gojo slaps up Sukuna, literally manhandling him through a building, we see Mei's crows circling Gojo. Remember, this fight is being broadcasted to the Jujutsu world via her curse technique, and bets are even being placed on it. But what's amazing is the imagery done by Gege Akutami, and since you know we go balls deep,
He said it.
we have the answer. Through Jujutsu Kaisen story, Gege had purposely represented certain characters and emotions through an animal counterpart. We had seen this with Mahito and Yuji, with a wolf and a rabbit, as Yuji admitted he is the same as him, and he became the predator where Mahito became the prey. Even Maki and Mei with the goose and the reed, which then transformed into a sword hilt. Reeds are actually very powerful for symbolism due to the Japanese phrase wild goose carry reeds, which embraces the belief that geese would have reeds when flying across the ocean to rest their wings, clearly symbolizing Mai crossing over to rest, discovering freedom for herself whilst establishing freedom for Maki. However, a flock of crows? It's called murder. This represents the intent behind Gojo's attacks, but also could be foreshadowing his own death. So far, we see 2 paths. One path is ending Gojo's character arc with his death against Sukuna. However, the next generation can continue his legacy by saving the world by defeating Sukuna in a weakened state. History would unfortunately repeat itself, as a 10 shadow user and Limitless would have killed each other, but since Gojo chose to not have a god complex but rather believe in collectivism, the world is a better place due to his sacrifice, as he broke the cycle and wheel in the past 1,000 years and gave the good people a chance to win. The second path Gege can take is to let Gojo survive by sacrificing his godly power. If he keeps destroying his brain, he will eventually reach a point where he is unable to use his curse techniques anymore. This will be narratively perfect in 2 ways. Firstly, for the overall story, it will mean that while Gojo will not be able to get into any other battles, the other characters will have a chance to fight a weakened Sukuna and even save Megumi with Yuji's soul swapping technique. Secondly, it will come full circle for Gojo's character, as he was bestowed with godhood at his birth itself, altering the balance of the world. He was burdened with the title and obligation of the strongest, which became his identity to everyone, even his own best friend, that he was Satoru Gojo. Is he the strongest because he's that name, or is he Satoru Gojo because he's the strongest? However, losing his abilities would make him an ordinary person, something that he has always yearned for, someone who could live in a world where he's just Gojo and nothing else. He would also fulfill his promise to his students that he'd win, but also live up to the responsibilities of being the strongest, which is the purpose his students must understand as a sorcerer in the first place. Now let me know what path off you want Gege to choose in the comment section below and what would be better for the story development so far. Also, please can you smash the like button because it really does support our channel and lets me continue covering this on a weekly basis so you can understand the story. Regardless, we see Gojo finally executing his killing strategy by cornering Sukuna like a little scaredy cat. He surprises him with a curse technique reversal red. Gojo deduces that Sukuna wouldn't be able to defend himself in time, since until now he had been causing problems through blue alone. His use of red shouldn't turn the wheel either, as it's a different attack. Sukuna instantly figures out this switch up and turns off the adaptation to protect himself with domain amplification. However, even with a barrier like that, Sukuna still receives a lot of damage, as he states that he cannot neutralize the strengthened blue and reversal red like he can for the neutral infinity. This is why he can only reduce the impact, not tank it at all, giving even more perspective on how strong Gojo is. Nothing can stop this dude, realistically speaking. So despite realizing this, Sukuna continues to taunt Gojo, stating that his attacks was sloppy because he had read Gojo's move. When will Sukuna learn that each time he taunts Gojo, he's just setting himself up?
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gojo reveals his card. The red attack is not done just yet.
You thought you ate that?
This was perfect choreography. It was peak fiction. Mwah. Yes. Taking advantage of the terrain, Gojo sent his attack around the building to finally land up on Sukuna's ass. He literally could not see this coming from his blind spot and its full force. But Gojo moved in to land another attack, but this time with Black Flash.
Hell yeah!
We finally have the strongest sorcerer's first on-screen Black Flash of the series, and holy shit, it is crazy. Remember that Black Flash is so strong where an ordinary person could exert force 28 times that of a tiger's bite. With Black Flash, the power of impact increases 2.5 times its amount. To achieve this, the sorcerer must hit the target with curse energy within 0.00001 seconds of the physical impact, creating a distortion of space, which in turn causes this sudden exponential increase in power. Yeah, that was my degree in anime bullshit science. So when someone performs Black Flash, they get to experience the true essence of their own curse energy, sending them into a state that increases their understanding of curse energy in general. After managing to use Black Flash successfully, remember that Mahito was able to manifest into his true form, as the Black Flash truly let him understand the core of his soul and how it affected him and everything else. Look at everyone in that panel. They all look shocked at what happened, but Yuji Itadori, the one person that is blessed by the spark of black and has made it look like that he can do it at will, he instantly knows that Gojo has done the Black Flash. For example, we've seen it allows sorcerers to operate at 120% of their maximum potential. This means that it was inevitable for Gojo to use the Black Flash, as he has the strongest Jujutsu affinity thanks to the 6 eyes, right? Also, let's not forget that Gojo's punches are laced with blue enhancement, which were already enough to make sorcerers like Yuji and Hakari throw up. And it also, we know for a fact, can kill 8-finger cursed spirits with that alone, as Jogo admitted it himself. So, with Black Flash on top of that, oh my god! Gege every chapter that comes out weekly, Gege somehow scales Gojo to be even stronger. Now with the Black Flash, the power bonus definitely made his punches lethal. Even a single punch would totally vaporize anyone, but Sukuna is still standing despite being knocked out. The dude's soul has left his body. The lights are out, and it is a testament to his defensive capabilities. However, the wheel has dropped. But really, if you think about it, Sukuna's words do hurt. Remember this guy called Gojo ordinary? A fish on the cutting board? But that same guy punches you so hard hard that it leaves you unconscious? Sukuna, you better put some respect on Gojo's name now. Now, despite a knockout blow, Sukuna gets saved once again by Megumi's clutch, as Mahoraga's last spin comes into full effect, and he finally manages to adapt to Gojo's infinity. With this, he comes out of the shadows and lands his own surprise blow on Gojo. However, Gojo now has the chance to fight Mahoraga by performing the Black Flash repeatedly, as it would be his only tool, unless that special training meant he developed another curse technique. Now, it definitely looks like Gojo is about to break Nanami's record of Black Flash in the process of defeating Mahoraga. But you may be asking, ABD, actually, Mahoraga could adapt to Black Flash? No! That's not possible. Black Flash is a form of curse energy achieved by facilitating the right conditions. It is not a technique of its own. It's still curse energy, but one that distorts reality. While Mahoraga can adapt to the punches in theory, he can't do the same with Black Flash, as Mahoraga can only adapt to curse techniques, not curse energy itself. This will lead to Gojo finally exercising Mahoraga, but Sukuna can still take the wheel back and use the 10 Shadows technique and his unknown Black Box techniques at its full potential, since it has adapted right now. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, watch our video on Boruto's time skip. It is finally here after 7 years of waiting.